Hey there, Facebook. How are all of you? Hey, Instagram. How are all of you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are live. Let's just make sure. Yay. Make sure you can hear my big mouth. So we are live. I'm super stoked that you guys are live. Do me a favor. As you come on here, I've got kind of a cool impromptu video to share with you today. As you come on here, give me a thumbs up or a heart in the comment section and tell me where you are tuning in from. Just hit the heart button, the like button if you choose to do so, or you can just watch in silence like a weirdo. It's really, the choice is yours, okay? I'm going to let Facebook know that I am live. For those of you who are new, so it looks like we have 25 of you on Facebook. I can't see that far away to see Instagram. So you guys, today is a great day because once again, I'm angry at the government. So whenever I get angry at the government, I like to, just focus on my garden, focus on creating the most living food possible. Those of you who are new and you have no idea who I am Andrea Cox, former fitness model, writer. I've written 4 plant-based recipe books. I am working on a spiritual, herbal, Akashic record oracle deck right now. I am an intuitive healer and a detox specialist. I've worked with a ton of celebs and still do today, and people just like you and I, which are my favorite people to work with. I'm currently growing 90% of my own food. The only thing I am not growing is my fruit. I have 2 little rescue dogs and I have been vegan for 24 years. I'm in my mid 40s. And when I say mid, I mean mid. And yeah, I'm aging in reverse. So today I was harvesting my garden. How's that for some lettuce? It's like a Christmas tree, right? No, it's lettuce. It's just lettuce. So is this. These are not Christmas trees. These are my lettuce from my garden. Still has the dirt on it. And I was like, what if I show them what I'm doing once I harvest my food? And so that's what I'm going to show all of you right now. I'm going to actually show you how I handle the overgrowth. So just like my hair, the garden is flourishing in the middle of winter in the desert. And one of my favorite things, and one of the things that I had a plethora of, was bok choy. I actually had, I think, close to 20 heads of bok choy, and they were about this big. So they were very, very big, very bountiful. And I was like, what am I going to do with all this bok choy? So today I'm going to show you what I do with my bok choy. I'm going to show you 2 ways that I used it, and then what I do with the stems to replant and have more bok choy come without seeds, without starter plants. So the first thing I did is I got on the phone with my Aunt Lisa, who lives in Dayton, Ohio, and I said, Aunt Lisa, what is this? What's bothering me? I said, Aunt Lisa, you're going to have to remind me how to make kimchi because I haven't made it in a while. I've made sauerkraut, but not kimchi. So I actually did 2 methods of kimchi. One method uses I think his name is Charles, I can't think, he's on Instagram. He's the big, huge gardener that grows like food for everyone in a state. Charles Downing or something. I did his method, which was the anaerobic method of making kimchi, and then I did my Aunt Lisa's method. So these are old recycled jars, and all I did was overnight, I chopped up 10 heads of bok choy. So I actually have about 20 jars in my pantry. I just brought 4 out to show you. I chopped up bok choy, carrots, ginger, garlic. I put some kelp in there. What else did I put in there? And some broccolini, because I had a lot of that as well. And I salted it heavy. And with my hands, clean hands, I just literally massaged it for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I let it sit with a wet paper towel over it overnight. And then all I did in the morning is I stuffed it in these jars, and you can see the bubbling, the fermentation coming to the top. And I put the cabbage leaves on top. I pushed them down so the bubbles would rise. And then in about 4 more days, it takes about a week to ferment, I am going to have kimchi, 20 jars of it, which will last for years. So that's a really cool thing to do. You know, you don't think about preserving when you grow your own food. You think about eating. I am party of one in this big house, and all of this food I have to eat myself. Now, I want to show you my aunt's method, and I'll probably do a kimchi video on Andrea Cox TV, my health YouTube channel. Those of you who don't know, 2 YouTube channels. For health, it is Andrea Cox TV. There's over 700 raw vegan recipes on there. And for intuitive guidance, it's the Detox Intuitive. So my aunt's method involved actually heating some water and just like making it warm and adding that on top. So I did 2 with her method, 2 with the anaerobic method, and of course I didn't label them, so I'm not going to know which is which, but that's okay, right? That's okay. So that's the first thing I did. Now, let me show you the second thing I made, which I've been eating nightly. So the second thing I did after I was done fermenting is I decided to make a really good vegetable cabbage soup. And as you can see, turned out really good. It lasts for about 5 days, so you can feast on it throughout the week. Now it is cooked, and for many of you know that I prefer like a 100% raw diet. In the winter, I will eat some baked starch, some potatoes, things like that. And I love a good vegetable stew. And you can see, this is a really good vegetable stew. And I'll just take the broth and I'll drink the broth while I'm at the gym in the morning. I mean, this is delicious, you guys. I'll even put some in a bowl to kind of show you how gorgeous this is. Oops. So what I did for this is I just cut up the mirepoix, the carrots, celery, and onions, and I sauteed them in a little bit of olive oil, just a touch, because I don't like a lot of oil. And then I put them in this big old stock pot, and I added frozen corn and frozen peas, organic. And then I added the cabbage in, and I added 2 heads of cabbage. So delicious vegetable soup, and so cheap, and you can eat this literally all week long. So that's another way I preserved this bok choy. Now let me show you another thing I did. So when I was cutting the bok choy, I tend to keep just the root of it like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to replant the root. Now, I don't know if it'll come up like herbs. I know when I cut my herbs back, they all come back up. So I cut basil. You guys know I shared some photos of my basil, of my oregano, of my parsley, of my cilantro, of my garlic dill, my regular dill, the sage, and all those beautiful herbs I had filling that basket over the weekend. I did something totally different with those, and I'll share that in another video. But when you cut your herbs, they come back, right? But sometimes when you cut vegetables, they don't. I'm going to give this a shot. I saved 3 heads, and I'm just going to replant them and see if they reconstitute as a vegetable. And I think that's really cool. And you know, if you look at this, and I don't want to get into the, you know, the government slamming or anything. Thank you guys for the hearts. Thank you for joining me on here. Welcome. Okay, how do I do that? Okay. Welcome Patricia, welcome Jeff, welcome Deborah, welcome Mark, welcome Darren, welcome Max, welcome Kevin, welcome Steve, welcome Tiffany, welcome Dave, welcome Jen. Welcome Megan, welcome Sandy. Welcome, Dave Fullerton. So, you know, when you think about going to the grocery store and you think of that really expensive artisan lettuce, right, that you buy in the clamshell, it's like $5 and $6 right now. This is that lettuce. This is that lettuce. When you think of how much a head of romaine is, we're talking like $6. I probably have 2 heads here, right? Now I let this go way longer than I should have, but you get my drift, right? So I'm not growing Christmas trees, although if you were to hold this like this, I'm a pretty tall woman. I mean, this comes down to my mid-thigh from the top of this hat. So that just goes to show like the abundance in a garden, right? So I encourage you, you know, and I know what a lot of you may be thinking. You may be thinking, Andrea, we're in an apartment. We don't have a balcony. We don't have anything. Well, you got someplace outside where you walk out your front door. Now, even if it is covered and you live in an apartment complex that is like completely covered, you can work with your community, the apartment management, and say, hey, can we start a community garden? Can we start anything? I get help with my garden. I had a guy come out and help me that's here locally. I had my girlfriend drive my grow boxes out from Las Vegas to here. She drove them from California to Vegas. Like, you know, twice a year, I'll get someone to help me. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that, right? Share your garden photos. Yes, share your garden photos. I love that. Now, the other things I had a plethora of was kohlrabi, broccolini. I've still got some of that. I still have more lettuces, the herbs. And then I found a lime tree nearby. And this is without utilizing the greenhouse. There's a full greenhouse that is part of this home that I haven't even used yet because it's kind of on a side that doesn't get much sunlight. Now, another thing that I grow and I'm big on is I grow all my own flowers and I grow all my own succulents and I grow a plethora of plants in the house, and it does require a lot of watering. A lot of my plants have been with me for 10, 11, 13 years. They have moved with me twice. One of the hardest things to do when I left Ohio like 13 years ago was to leave my plants behind. It was actually like just a complete mind boggle that I was doing it. I gave them away to a friend, I believe. But getting back to this, so the benefits of kimchi are an excellent microbiome in the gut. So good gut health, good gut flora. The benefits of vegetable soup is more emotional, right? It's comforting, it's warming, it's something to eat where you know you're nourishing the cells of your body. And even though it's cooked, it's like that grandma feeling, you know, whose grandma didn't make them vegetable soup? I know mine did. My mom made it as well. So you have to keep these things in mind when, you know, you're making your food. Make food to nourish yourself. There is nothing wrong with indulging once you're done eating a meal. I love some good dark chocolate. I love some white chocolate. I make gluten-free cookies and things of that nature. But most of the time I stay raw. I stay vegan all the time. And I try to nourish myself to what my body is asking for on that particular day. I think I just had like 6 mandarins and 4 bananas right before I shot this. So, you know, I go by the way I feel. I think I had a juice before that. So, you know, really nourish the cells of your body. Now, I posted earlier all over on Instagram, on TikTok, Andrea Lee Cox on TikTok, Raw Chef Andrea on Instagram and Twitter. I posted about McCormick and what happened with their spices. And a lot of you were like, oh, well, we don't eat GMO spices. Well, McCormick's not genetically modified. They're actually not. They have a whole organic line of spices that were also included in that. And on top of that, you know, we have to really look at these companies. Now, I didn't go into detail here on Facebook, but if you follow me on Raw Chef Andrea, and you page through this series of photos I shared earlier today, I created those myself, If you page through those, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's not just Monsanto poisoning our food. It's Big Pharma. It's Johnson & Johnson with the baby powder. We have to pay attention to what is on our skin. And as an intuitive and a healer and a detox specialist and someone who has been vegan 24 years, someone who has not put chemicals on my body for 24 years, and someone who really takes pride in caring for themselves, I have to tell you guys, once you stop supporting these companies, you're not just doing right by yourself, your family, and your body and taking better care of yourself. You're also actually becoming part of a major movement that tells our government, you know what? Enough's enough. This is not okay. And we won't put up with you poisoning us any longer. You know, our skin is the largest organ of our body. So anything we put on our skin goes in our bloodstream within 10 to 15 minutes. So why, if you turn a bottle around and you read the back of it and you can't pronounce the first 10 ingredients, would you ever put something like that on your skin? Why would you use toxic nail polish full of formaldehyde and tourmaline and things of that nature? Why would you eat chemicals, blue dye, red dye, etc.? Why would you use fertilizers on the food that you're going to eat and feed your children? And so we have to really be more mindful and smarten up. And you know, I want to say something else. Every time I say something like this, I take a huge risk. I take a risk to money. I take a risk on social media. I take a risk everywhere, okay? Because you know, I don't want to even say what I'm going to say. But when all of this came about, I had lifelong followers reach out to me when all of this came about 2 years ago. And you guys know what I'm talking about. And they said, Andrea, we don't agree with you and you need to be, you know, safe and things like that. You guys know what I'm talking about. And I stood my ground. I was like, just unfollow. It's in the upper right-hand corner, because I know, and I knew 25 years ago when I went vegan, I still know today, I know how to eat. I know how to feed myself. I know how to instruct people to eat. I know what to stay away from. I know about chemicals. I know how to purify my own rainwater. I know how to distill it, purify it, everything. I know how to grow a garden. I know how to prepare raw living foods and fresh vegetable juices. I know how to keep my body clean, my aura clean, my energy clean. And a lot of people need that knowledge. And before they know, right from wrong, they're gonna come at you, right? And so I have taken all of those, that ammunition on me. And I am here to say, you know what, enough's enough. You got to smarten up with your food. You got to start small. If you live in an apartment, you got to grow your own herbs in a grow box or something of that nature. And you have to start questioning these companies on a bigger scale. You have to. I don't eat perfect. I eat some vegan junk food. I've had the burgers a few times, the vegan burgers and things like that. Those are certainly not ideal. However, 90% of what goes into my body is grown in my yard. It's juiced in my kitchen. It's made here at home. Okay? And you guys know me. I'm not going to steer you wrong. So yeah, so do you guys have any questions? I see we have someone that shared like a couple videos on Facebook. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Scott. Oh, how to make a tower garden. Yes, my sister has one. My sister Stacy in Ohio has a tower garden. Aw, thank you for all the beautiful comments and for continuing to tell me where you tuned in from. Hey, Deborah. So you guys, that's what I wanted to share with you. So I'm going to do a quick recap. So after I shared all that, stuff about McCormick Foods today all over, it really angered me. Like I felt like some type of like demon come over me, like, ooh, you got to get this out there. Because, you know, I can't think of how many times I have walked into a loved one's home and seen McCormick on their shelves. So, you know, Hang on one sec. Hey, you need to stop. What are you doing? Here, stop. Come on. So anyway, that's what got me all hot and bothered about that. And then I was thinking probably the best, I'm way ahead of you, buddy. I was thinking probably the best way to share this with all of them is show them how I harvested my garden and how easy it is. So to make 20 jars of kimchi and to make the vegetable stew I shared with all of you was probably, and to harvest the whole garden with all my herbs was probably 2.5 hours out of my day on Saturday. So there you have it. I hope this video helped all of you. Will you guys do me a favor? I'm going to share a bunch of links in the comments, my YouTube channels, my website. Hop on over, subscribe to my free newsletter. I only send like one newsletter out every 2 weeks. I don't need to. I'm constantly booked now. And also on my 2 YouTube channels, subscribe there. And yeah, I'm just so happy that I could share all this with you. And let me know in the comments also if you'd like me to do step by step and show you how I made the kimchi. It's so easy that I'm just like, okay, all you do is literally cut all the ingredients, massage salt into them, leave them sit overnight, and pack it in a canning jar. That's literally all you do. So salt brings out the natural juices when we're fermenting. You don't need the special thing that, you know, cleanses your jars and where you pack them in that little fermentation thing. You just have to keep them in a cool, dry place, a dark, dry place for about a week. Okay, thanks so much, you guys. I love each and every one of you. I'll talk to you soon. Okay, and my hat is by Audra Lee Inspires. Audra Lee Inspires on Instagram. She has her own company. She's a mom and she is a fan. She said she was fangirling over me and I had to Google it. So yeah, so check this out. She's been a fan for like 10 years. I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, Beulah. Oh, we didn't do the happy dance and someone said that. Happy, happy dance. I'm gonna do the happy dance. Okay, bye you guys.